Welcome. Thank you, the three of you who are with us right now. Thank you. If you joined early and your phone rolling, please continue to do so. You might also want to use this time to get further set up. I will not be playing any music, but you certainly can play your own in your own home. You might also want to be gathering some props other than your own pets who are not actually very helpful for this. You might want to gather some soft props, some blankets, light blankets, or thicker soft props like these pillows, and I need to go get my thicker props. So some other props that are also really useful are something thicker and stiffer. I have yoga blocks, but also things like Tupperware or a good thick book can also work. If you're using those things, you might want to use a towel or something just to pad its corners. And then sometimes a foam roller can also be handy. The benefit of doing this on YouTube Live is that we cannot watch and compare and judge ourselves or each other, yet we'll also know that we're having this experience together. We will begin with a short movement flow, followed by a seated meditation, and then today we're doing 4 yin postures before a final relaxation. During this time, there is no right alignment or position because we're not going to be adding any progressions. We're not adding any force. So we really want to allow your body to unfold where it needs to and where it feels good. When we do each posture, I will suggest several setups. I'll start without using any props at all, and then I'll add various different propping options. When we're doing this, we're looking for lines of fascial tension through your body, so it should be gentle lines throughout your body as opposed to a singular point. And then once I'm done with the demonstration, I won't stay in the posture. You'll stay in the posture for 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll be keeping track of the time. So the position you land in after the demonstration should feel safe for you to relax all muscular tension while experiencing very quiet sensations in your body. This is a practice of patience, stillness, and subtlety. Let's begin. So we're going to begin. We want to have a nice padded surface for your knees. So I've got this thick blanket here I'm going to use, but you could set up if you had folded towels or other small blankets. You don't need to be sitting on it. It doesn't have to be under your butt, but you are going to want them on your knees. We're going to have both feet facing the same direction, knees facing the other direction, and then whether you're at a tighter bend or a looser bend, or your knees are farther apart from each other or closer, that's up to you. You might feel restriction in your hips right now, and that's going to be okay. Just make it as comfortable as you can. And then we're going to gently lean forward and come up onto your knees, kneeling, and then lower back down with as much control as you can, as slowly as you can. Moving through this range in your hips. We're just going to do it 2 more times, lifting up and coming down. Trying to move smoothly with as much control as possible. And then the hand that's on the knee side as opposed to the foot side, you're just going to put it down on the ground next to you. And this time you're going to lean on that hand, lift your hips off the ground, leaning on that hand. The other knee opposite from the supporting hand might go straight, and then we'll reach up and over wherever it feels good for you, feeling a nice long line, and then lowering with control. We're going to add a breath. Inhale, sweeping up into a long line of stretch. Exhale, flowing down. Inhale up. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale up. One more. And go ahead and just take a moment to twist it out. Perhaps find a different position for your hips. Rolling the shoulders of your neck. And then we'll switch sides. You might find that this second side, the side you didn't gravitate towards first, feels different or restricted or might need a different setup. For example, I just find that positioning my back ankle differently makes a big difference in how I can be in this position. So get yourself set up, make sure that your knees have the majority of the support and padding, and we're just going to do 3 lifts. We're just lifting up, getting nice and tall, and lowering down. Nice and smooth. Working with whatever range you have, with as much control as you have, wherever that is, and if you need a little hand support to help on the way down, if you need a little hand support. That was our 3. Then we're going to place a hand to the side, and you might discover throughout this if you need to shift the position of your hand, that's just fine. So we're going to lean onto that hand, come up onto the knees. The foot further away from your supporting hand might choose to go straight and reach over top and play with whatever angles you need to. And then lowering down. Inhaling on the way up. Exhaling, lowering down. Two more. Long, big inhale, expanding and opening. Exhale, grounding. One more. There we go. So we're going to get set up for our seated meditation. So go ahead and wiggle out ankles, give the legs a rub. And you can have several options for your seated meditation. One option is simply to sit in a chair. If a chair is readily available to you, feel free to go sit in it. We want to sit upright, so with a nice tall spine without reclining into a backrest. But if the floor feels tight and distractingly restricted, then a chair is a good place to be. Other options are to simply be more propped up. So sitting up on something taller can simply give you more room in the hips. You can not sit cross-legged. You can sit with your legs out in front of you in any position, and also folded back. Again, raising the hips, whether it's just with a small prop or all the way up into a chair, can make a lot of that more comfortable. And then various things to pad underneath knees, ankles, or any place where you're getting contact with the ground. I think I'm gonna... Getting yourself comfortable. There we go. I have plenty of practice and it still takes me a little bit to get everything set up just so. So as you make your final little adjustments, settling in, you're going to have palms down, palms up, or clasped in your lap. Eyes find a soft and steady gaze on the floor in front of you, or you might close your eyes. And settling in, allowing yourself to re-arrive in this space at this time. yourself to recognize and put away all the other tasks and needs and demands of the day. Imagine shedding them like layers, like scarves, jackets, folding them neatly, tucking them away. You can retrieve them later. Re-arrive in your body. Bring awareness to your breath. Notice its pattern, the sensation of air moving, the way the movement shifts in your body, belly, ribs, shoulders. No need to change, simply observing your breath. Now imagine two beams of white light. Inhale these lights through your nostrils. They converge in the middle of your brain. Exhale, light travels down your spine, rooting into the ground. Inhale, light travels up your spine. Exhale, out your nose in two beams of light. Inhaling beams of light through the nostrils up to the midbrain. Exhale down the spine and rooting. Inhale from base of spine to the crown. Exhale, two beams of light out your nostrils. Continuing this breath visualization at your own pace, on your own breath rhythm. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Nod your chin towards your chest. Opening your eyes. And then taking any movement that calls to you. You might feel like doing some side bending or some twisting. Rolling wrists or neck. Repositioning the legs, coming out. Perhaps rolling ankles, wiggling toes. For our first yin posture, we're going to look for a line of fascial tension through the glute area, alongside the spine, through your back, up through the neck, and even potentially into the forehead. You might also feel some lines of tension through the quads or through the tops of the ankles. But make sure, again, that we don't want any singular points, acute places of extreme sensation, gentle sensation in lines. So if I were to use no props at all, including pets, you have several options here. It might simply be with the knees together, feet together, arms back, head on the ground. Without any other props, I might choose a wide knee variation. And I can also choose either knee position with arms extended. In any case, yin is a passive stretching posture, and so you want to be supported in such a way that you feel comfortable to truly release muscular tension. If it doesn't feel comfortable enough, then your muscles will be protecting you from going too deep and injuring yourself. So options for several places is one is simply to pad underneath you if you're getting a lot of pressure in the knees or ankles. If you're getting too much pressure in the tops of the ankles, you want to go up. So creating a little height for the shins right by the ankles allows me to have a bend in my ankles. If the knee position is a little bit too tight, you want to lift the hips. So putting, in this case, I'm going to grab my foam roller. Putting something up on my hips can reduce a little bit of pressure here. And then if you find that the ground feels too far away, and your head and you're getting too much tension in the neck or the forehead, you can prop the various objects. And then the arm position, if you choose to have the arms out, remember that they need to be fully in support. So we don't want to be staying in a super active extended position. Allow the arms to relax. So go ahead and experiment with those positions and those propping options. There is no one right way. It's whatever feels best for you, that you feel supported and comfortable to stay in the position for about 2 minutes. And now hopefully you've had some time to fidget and fuss. Now it's time to settle. Trust your body. And let go of effort and trying and adjustments and analysis. And allow yourself to sink in, melt into the posture, and simply observe what shows up. Distraction is normal and natural from my side of the camera, or in your household, or within your body. Come back to your breath and let your breath continually find places that you can let go of a little more tension, find a little more ease. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Feel your breath move inside your body and change the sensation of the posture. Breathing in towards the floor and your thighs, but also inhaling into your back towards the ceiling. And then gently, using your arms to help lift you up, you might choose to simply find a comfortable neutral position and observe the effects in your body, or you might choose active counter postures and movement, sometimes a downward dog, pedaling out the feet, twisting through the shoulders and hips. It's important between our moments of stillness to take moments to move, moments to be impulsive, to follow wherever your body takes you. When we're in our yin posture, we're attempting to not be impulsive, to notice the impulses to shift or to itch, or to simply wander away with our attention, and we're continually coming back to that present moment, trying to be still and observant. But now you get to move wherever your body takes you. For our next yin posture, we're going to be looking for long lines of fascial tension. Again, the tops of the ankles, through the shins, through the quads, and then very importantly, through the front of the hip and possibly further up into the ribs and chest. We're going to do one side at a time. So again, I'm going to demonstrate without any props to begin with, and then there are quite a few options. So I'm going to fold one leg back and then use my hands to lower slowly to the ground. I'm going to leave the leg that's not folded bent, but I might also put it flat wherever it's comfortable. And then on the side of the folded leg, I'm going to bring that arm up. And again, possibly feeling through the chest and ribs on this side. In this case, this is my left side. So you can see the line of fascial tension throughout the entire front left side of my body. But for many people, myself included, this is quite intense, and I would not be able to stay here for a very long time. So one is simply to add padding underneath the ankle and the toes where there's a lot of pressure. Another one is to add propping underneath that knee. Right. Another option is to prop underneath the back, and this often relieves a lot of pressure in the front of the ankle and shin area. So propping up in my back, right? Various propping options. So you can notice that my knee is in a lower position because my upper body is in a higher position. And then you can also just lean up against a wall and then slouch into that posture until you feel a good place. Generally, this option, it's a little harder to open the hips. So sometimes if you're sitting propped up, I might actually pop something underneath my hips to open up the hips a little bit. So lots of options. Go ahead and hopefully you've already started to experiment and to adjust, and you're going to even find other ways to prop because this is only the beginning. So feel free to find something else entirely new. Hopefully you've now settled in. Accept wherever you have landed. Find your breath. Observe the shifting sensations in your body. Using your breath to guide you into further relaxation, using your breath to unlock and unwind places of chronic tension. Begin to lengthen and deepen your breath. And use these breaths to very gently unwind. If you're feeling a little stuck, which might be normal, one option is to simply roll away from the folded leg. Rolling away should give you the ability to free that leg. Another option is to use the non-folded leg to lift your hips, to bridge the hips up, and then untuck the leg. And then, as with before, taking your transition, you might feel like stretching the legs up towards the ceiling, or hugging your knees in towards your chest, or simply shaking your legs out on the ground, or whatever your body calls for. As you take these transitional movements, when we stay in this posture, it's normal to feel uncomfortable, as unfamiliar. And a good practice is to recognize the difference between uncomfortable and unfamiliar and actually harmful. In many cases, we respond to normal, uncomfortable, or unfamiliar sensations as if they were harmful. And so this is also a practice to discern some of the subtle differences in sensations and respond only to those that require response. With that said, begin setting up your other side. As you set up this other side, explore it as it was an entirely new posture. It's the same posture, but on the other side of your body, it's going to feel very different. It might need different props, a different setup. I didn't mention this the first time, but even exactly where you put your leg might be different. So the folded leg could be toe out, but if you noticed it just simply flexing your toe out to the side, if that suddenly feels like a much better line for you, go for it. If tucking the foot underneath your hips, right, suddenly unlocks a fantastic line of sensation for you, is exactly what you need, great. So keep exploring. Perhaps trying a different propping strategy. And then hopefully settling into one particular propping position, letting go of those final fidgets and adjustments, and settling in. Feeling the power of not just being strong, but of also being soft. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Very gently and carefully coming out of the posture. And then taking any movement that your body calls for. That could be lying still on the ground or just wiggling your feet, or it might be much more active and engaged. Perhaps lying on your back with your knees bent, swishing the knees from side to side. Or more active extension and movement of the legs. Being tight as a ball, or stretching out long and big. Our next yin posture is going to be for the inner thighs, so line of tension from the inner knee up to the inner thigh into the groin and pelvis, so this area. We're going to set up for the knees wide, and very importantly, the feet wide as well. So feet and knees are wide. This is not a place where I have a lot of mobility, so some of you will be much closer to the ground, others not. And then lowering myself down, you're gonna have to rock the hips to find the place where you find just the nice, subtle, comfortable line of tension and stretch, again, in the inner thigh from knee, groin, pelvis, that entire area. So for me, this is where that would be, right about there, right? And then propping, for me, is absolutely necessary as I'm not on the ground. I need a little more support. So I'd obviously prop, I personally would definitely prop underneath my pelvis and underneath my knees for tension and pressure on my knees and ankles. Right. Underneath my hips. I would go underneath my forearms and for my forehead. There. So this would be my personal propping. But again, anywhere that you feel like you need propping, you might feel better propping underneath your chest rather than your hips. You might feel really comfortable letting your head drape and just letting gravity take your forehead down. And depending on the position of your knees, you might end up needing 2 separate blankets for underneath your knees and ankles. So go ahead and figure out where that's going to land for you. Make those adjustments. Try one thing and then another. And then allow yourself to settle in. Let this be a time just for a few minutes where you don't need to chase or strive. Wherever you have landed is the perfect place. physically and emotionally, allowing yourself to savor the stillness and quiet. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. And then using these breaths to help lift you out, using your arms to lift the chest. And then again, you might want to curl back into a ball, bringing the knees in close. You might feel like stretching out in a downward dog, or simply lying on your belly. Our last yin posture is going to be a twist. So we're going to look, there are going to be lines all over the place. So you're going to feel a lot in the torso. And you're also hips, depending on how you set up your legs, through the legs, and then potentially also through one of your arms. So right now I'm sitting with both of my feet pointing off in one direction and my knees in the other. I'm going to put my hands down on the side that my knees are facing, right? And you might choose to stay up here on your hands and just walking your hands into a deeper twist and staying up high on your hands. Or you might choose to walk the hands out and possibly bring the forearms down. And then you might even go all the way to the floor. Now, lots of ways to prop this, and also just position the legs. So the legs might want to be more open or more bent, or again, sort of deeper in a twist. In this case, I can use the bookshelf to just help hold my leg and not slide on my slippery floors. But as usual, I might want to use some props just under pressure points, under knees or ankles. I might choose to use some props underneath my torso, and in this case I'm just going to snug them up against my hip so that I can sort of turn to them and really put them on my low belly. And then I might choose to prop underneath my forehead. And then again, this is where that arm comes into play. If I extend my arm out or cross it underneath, right, a line of tension may be introduced into the shoulder or ribs. I might choose to have my head straight down, or I might choose to extend the twist into my neck by looking away from my knees. So making those final adjustments to the propping position that's going to feel good for you. And then settling in. Feeling supported. your body be fully at ease. Anytime tension creeps back in to the torso or hips, or even just to your jaw or your fingers or toes, take a deep breath and let go, unwind and open. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. And then using your arms to help you gently come up out of the posture, unwinding in the neck, walking the hands out of the twist, unfolding the legs, and taking any movement or stillness that your body calls for. And then beginning to set up your other side. As always, your other side might be drastically different, and there is no need in this practice to sort of force it into the mold of the first side. Allow it whatever it needs, and so it can unwind as it needs to. So go ahead and finding that leg position, ankles or bend that feels comfortable for you, hands towards the knee side. And pause at each spot and just notice before just racing to where you think it's going to feel best. And pausing and wondering, how does that feel? Where do I feel when I move like this? And finding that position that feels good, that feels like long lines of fascial tension. And then finding those props so that you might be more at ease and more inclined to allow your body to let go of the tension. Settling in. Letting go of any final fidgets and adjustments. And then just sinking in. Letting your muscles be soft. Letting your mind find comfort and ease in following your breath. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Using these breaths to help you unwind and come out of the position. And transitioning, taking any movement that calls to you, that your body is craving. And as you're ready, we're going to get in position for our last relaxation. Lying down, you might unfold one of your blankets and allow yourself to get wrapped up and cozy. You might take something to put underneath your knees. Something for underneath your head. And potentially even something to cover your eyes or dim the lights in your home even further. Allowing yourself to enjoy and savor relaxing in a fully supported position. Imagine a small ball of white light hovering above your head. Wherever this light touches or passes through, it spreads a feeling of peace and of comfort. Watch this ball of light descend into your midbrain and then slide down behind your eyes and into your throat and descend into your chest. This little ball of white light, spreading comfort and ease, moves into your right shoulder, right elbow, wrist, thumb, first finger, second, third, fourth. Slides through your palm into your wrist, elbow, shoulder, chest. Slides over to your left shoulder, left elbow, wrist, thumb, first finger, second, third, fourth. Slides through your palm into your wrist, elbow, shoulder, chest. Spreading comfort and ease. Slides down through your abdomen, behind your navel, to your tailbone. And then over to your right hip, right knee, ankle, big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth, through the sole of your foot into your ankle, tailbone, left hip, left knee, ankle, big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth, through the sole of your foot to your ankle, knee, hip, tailbone. Slides up behind your navel, through your abdomen, into your chest, throat, midbrain. Allow yourself to breathe in comfort and ease. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Reintroducing movement, perhaps wiggling fingers and toes, rolling ankles and wrists, stretching out long and big before curling into a ball, and rolling to your side, using your arms to help you sit up. We'll conclude with 3 breaths together. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth. 2 more. One more. Thank you, the 4 of you who joined me this evening. You're welcome to share your experience or feedback. You can do that just right now in the chat section of the YouTube Live. You can also email me, Kym, K-Y-M, @zested.net. Visit our website to join our mailing list. You can also find there links to follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And then really appreciate any support to keep this going, especially during these unusual, stressful times. Support might be sharing this opportunity, sharing this link with friends and family who you think might be benefit and might find this valuable. And then also donations are greatly appreciated. You can donate to paypal.me/zested. Thank you. Have a peaceful evening.